Have the kids start on the waiting spot, which is the purple dot. Then for this one, they're going to sit. They can either have their feet on the red or on the orange, depending on their height. Hands on the bar. And they're practicing pulling up. Make sure that their fingers are all together and thumbs aren't looped under. Having kids start on the purple dot. They're going to be climbing onto the P-bars and then jumping sideways and landing on different objects. Different heights with different textures. Having kids start on the purple dot, we're going to be practicing some front support with hands on a beam or on a noodle. So your kids can use their toes or their knees if they need. Really getting them to enforce the proper shapes. Your kids start on the purple dot. We're just going to be practicing some landings. So that you can either land on the big mat or just the shorter one. And they're just going from a hang into that motorcycle, nothing fancy. Make sure your kids start on their waiting spot. Then they're going to come over to box, beatboard, box. Really reinforce that motorcycle landing. If they're a little bit nervous, then they can just step off the first time and they'll get a little bit of the feel for it. But really encourage them to take a jump. Having your kids move from their waiting spot, we're going to do pike handstands. So with their feet on the mailbox, their back against the mat. Make sure their fingers are pointed towards the mat and their bodies are really nice and tight. Having your kids move from their waiting spot, we're going to do a lunge, reaching forward, grabbing one of the cylinders, standing back up, and then lunge back, stack it on top. Really enforce that your kids should be moving their hands and legs at the same time so that they don't end up more wonky and in a V. Have your kids start on the waiting spot. Then we're going to do some log rolls across the box. If your athletes are a little bit older, it's going to be more of a challenge because they're going to have to hold more of their body up, but really enforce that they need to stay tight while doing their log roll. Each station is going to have one of these squares. One side will be green and one side will be red. If it's on the green side, that means it's clean, and if it's red, that means that it's dirty and needs to be wiped still. So when you come to do beams with your Gym Frogs 1 and 2, you're going to need to set it up. So there's the yellow beam behind the red and blue one. It'll just need to get pulled out. And then there's some stars that'll need to be spaced out. Those will be your landing zones for your kids. And then we're going to just play the food game. So you'll just ask your kids different questions, like if you like pizza, they'll jump off and they'll practice their motorcycle landing. Something you might want to do is practice your motorcycle before you start the game, just so everyone has practiced it a few times before jumping off a height. And it's nice you can have the two heights. So if some of your kids are a little bit nervous or less predictable, then you can put them on the smaller beam. So if you like ice cream, you jump off. If you have a kid who doesn't like the thing, then you can have them either stand on one foot, or they could turn in a circle, or they could lift their arms up overhead and wave. Just get them to do some action that has them change a little bit. Then when you're done, you're going to flip the card over so that it's red. You'll put the yellow beam back where you found it, and pick up all the stars. You could have your kids help you pick up all the stars if you wanted.